Hello everyone! Introduce me, Alfina Damayanti. In this video, I will discuss about the influence of psychology in decision making. This material is important because in everyday life and the business world, the decisions a person makes are not only influenced by logic, but also by psychological factors. In general, decision making is the process of choosing one of the best options from several available alternatives. In the world of accounting and business, decision making is very important because it relates to planning, investment, cost control, to determining the company's strategy. But in fact, human beings do not always make decisions rationally. Many decisions are influenced by one's emotions, experiences, pressures, perceptions, and mental state. These factors are what are studied in psychology. Psychology is a science that studies human behavior, thought patterns, emotions, and mental processes. In decision making, psychology helps explain why a person can make certain decisions in certain situations. One of the greatest influences of psychology in decision making is emotion. When a person is angry, scared, sad, or overly happy, the decisions made often become less objective. For example, an investor who is panicking because the stock price has dropped dramatically might sell his shares immediately without considering long-term conditions. Conversely, when overconfident, one can take too much risk without careful analysis. In addition to emotions, experience also greatly influences decisions. Past experience can be a lesson in determining future actions. For example, a manager who has suffered heavy losses is likely to be more careful in making subsequent investment decisions. On the contrary, successful experiences can increase one's confidence. Another psychological factor is perception. Each individual has a different way of understanding information. Two people can receive the same information but produce different decisions because they have different points of view. In the business world, perceptions of financial statements, market conditions, or company risk can influence the strategy chosen by management. Then there is motivation. Motivation is the drive that makes a person take an action to achieve a certain goal. In a company, motivation can affect how employees and managers make decisions. For example, a manager who wants to get a big bonus may try to increase the company's profits in various ways to achieve the target. Pressure and stress also have a great influence on when a person is under time pressure, high workload, or a situation full of risks, the ability to think rationally may decline. In the business world, perceptions of financial statements, market conditions, or company risk can influence the strategy chosen by management. Then there is motivation. Motivation is the drive that makes a person take an action to achieve a certain goal. In a company, motivation can affect how employees and managers make decisions. For example, a manager who wants to get a big bonus may try to increase the company's profits in various ways to achieve the target. Pressure and stress also have a great influence on decisions. When a person is under time pressure, high workload, or a situation full of risks, the ability to think rationally may decline. As a result, decisions taken can be rushed and less precise. Therefore, in the world of work, the ability to manage stress is very important so that the decisions made remain objective and professional. In addition, psychology is also familiar with the term asterisk. Cognitive bias asterisk. Cognitive bias is a mistake in thinking that makes a person take unobjective decisions. One example is overconfidence bias, which is a condition when a person is too confident in their own abilities to ignore the risks that exist. There is also confirmation bias, which is the tendency of a person to seek only information that supports his opinion and ignore conflicting information. In accounting and business, such bias can lead to errors in financial statement analysis and investment decision-making. The influence of psychology on decision-making is also very visible in leadership. A leader who is able to control emotions, think calmly, and understand the condition of his subordinates can usually make better decisions. Conversely, leaders who are easily panicked or emotional can make decisions that are bad for the organization. In today's modern era, the influence of psychology is increasingly important as the business world becomes faster and more competitive. Information comes with a great deal, and decisions must be taken in a short period of time. Therefore, the ability to think critically, control emotions, and understand human behavior becomes a much-needed skill. For students and business people, understanding psychology in decision-making is very useful in order to be able to make decisions more rationally. Objectively, and effectively. In conclusion, psychology has a great influence in the decision-making process. Factors such as emotions, experiences, perceptions, motivation, stress, and cognitive biases can influence the way a person thinks and acts. By understanding the influence of psychology, one can be more careful, more objective, and wiser in making decisions, both in everyday life and in the business and accounting world. A few explanations about asterisk, the influence of psychology in decision-making asterisk. Hopefully this material can add insight and help understand the importance of psychological factors in determining the right decision. Thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.